how can we reduce the amount of information needed to store a sound? Well, there are two techniques. Some techniques without loss of information and some other techniques with loss. The techniques without loss use compression on the bytes needed to record a sound. And remember that we are storing some maybe 16 to 32 bits for each sample, and this is an stream of data, whatever. And we can uh, feed this data stream to a compressor. For example, I'm sure you know about zip files. Zip files uses some techniques. For example, imagine you have a lot of zeros. To reduce the amount of information, you can see, for example, you have here 10 zeros, 10 zeros. And if you have a lot of repeated information, the the compressed version will uh, will have less size than the original one. So if we take the original samples, feed it to a compression algorithm, and get a new stream of bits, we can undo the operation and get the original bits from the compressed audio file. Those are the format without loss. For example, I am sure you have heard about FLAC format. This is a sound format without loss. The lossy compression uses more advanced techniques to reduce the size of the sound file much more than the lossless compression algorithms. Well, they are called formats with loss because we can't reproduce the original waveform. So for example, if we start with this sound, and the algorithms uses very complex algorithms, analysis of the waves, etc. Some tricks because human hear there are some things that we can hear, and generate a file where and we can regenerate a similar wave, but it won't be the same. It won't be the same. For example, it will be uh, something like that. But our ears won't be able to differentiate between the compressed sound wave and the original sound wave. It's almost the same for our human ear. But uh, the information we drop here when compressing this file allows us to have a very important improvement in size. So the size of a compressed sound is much smaller than a format without loss. Those are formats like MP3, for example, OGG. You can't reproduce the original waveform, but you have a very small audio size for the recorded sound. There is still another way to store sounds using still less information than lossy compression formats. Is this okay? We can record not the waveform here, not the waveform, but the instructions to reproduce the waveform. So for example, if we store the notes we want to play, we need to, we can, using a processor, to just play that notes like we were playing an instrument. And we will have the same song that, that we have here represented in the pentagram. But in this case, the sound won't be the same because if you play a song in different pianos or using different instruments, it won't be the exact same sound, but it allows us to reproduce sounds using instruction. This is what is called, for example, the MIDI format, in which we just record which instrument and which note to play, the duration of the song, etc. And well, it's a different technique, but it needs much less space to store a song, for example.